them, it's given me a lot more. The one thing I really want to tell you about, and I was telling a couple of these guys earlier on, is the effect it had on us as a group. Just this week, I had a phone call from a lad who was on the course with me called Pete. Now, we'd had a conference call last week, and he basically decided, and it was exactly right, that I wasn't myself on that call. Now, bear in mind, this is a person I've known for a week on this course, okay, first time I've ever met him, and the only contact I've had with him prior to that is over the phone, okay. And he got the nail on the head. I'd been having problems at home. I hadn't discussed it with anybody. It was things that even my closest friends weren't aware of. And he rang me this week and he said, "You're not yourself, what's going on?" And I was able to talk to him as I was able to talk to some of my close friends. And that to me is such a powerful thing to happen within a business. Unbelievable, you know, that I can have somebody that close to me and who knows me that well from a week of coaching. And to me, if that can be put across the whole of a business, that can really change something. The other thing I'd like to tell you about as well is during the course, the atmosphere between the group was unbelievable. I can remember a very specific moment, it was in the evening after we'd been in Leavesden, and we were talking about, we'd got the chance to talk to Sue at the end of the week, and what we wanted to say to Sue, and what we wanted to put forward. And I've never ever been in a situation where there was so much electricity. And the owner will agree with me, in the air. Well, I hope you will anyway. We were all sat in this pub talking about what we wanted to do within the company, and the buzz was just unbelievable. I've never felt such a part of such a strong team. We were all on the same page, we all wanted the same thing, we all were positive about it, and we all knew how we were going to get there, and that was so important. And from that, I think, as Sue will say, you were quite shocked at the end of the week, would I say, at the amount of drive that we came to you with, and what we wanted to do. And that to me is just unbelievable, you know, and that wouldn't have been the case without doing this kind of coaching. But as I say, it's really important to understand that although you might have some scepticism about it, possibly, until you've seen it, and until you've seen the effect, it is hard to understand it, but it really does make a difference.
I saw a lad that was on the last year at Yarnfield partner training course, and it's like
It's like your best friend.
It's like really weird, sort of the connection you've got. It's different to sort of a normal sort of friend.
It's weird,
but it was. You did make a great bond with everyone there, because I suppose you open up in a way that you never do in a normal situation. So definitely agree with James on that.
But the lad that I was actually talking about, sorry, I just want to mention this. One of the things he actually said during the course, and that was really powerful to me, was that he'd never felt like he'd had close friends inside or outside of work. And after the week, he said that everybody in the room he'd now classed as his close friends, and that's really important, you know, that could provide that to him.
Same thing about sort of when we got together and we're buzzing off each other, you do get that feeling sort of there's a 10 that you could achieve it, like sort of the way you're all bonded in that way. You could actually take, like, there's nothing you could do as a 10, if you know what I mean, like as a group of sort of, if you were a part of the business, the 10 of you could really go places. That's my feeling on it at the time.
Could you imagine?
I was just going to say, well, I think coming into it as 10 strangers, like I really didn't know anyone who was in the room. Then by the end of the week, and like in the evening times, we'd all go for dinner, and without having to count, we just knew that someone was missing. Like, yeah, oh, so is someone not here? That was the weirdest thing I think that happened. Like, we just knew. I realised that straight away. One person is still in their room or something, and I think that's the most important thing. If that week can change so much, like the connection builds such a strong connection between us, then just imagine if that was instilled into everyone, like in a company, like how much better everyone would work together. And I think just the whole balance with home life and work life, that's important as well. We didn't go into it talking just about work, just about how we're going to do this at work. It was something where we could choose what we wanted to do with it, whether we could take it into the workplace, put it into our personal life. So nothing was really forced upon us. It was just for us to realise what we can do And I think that's a really good thing, that the power that it had in that week. And it was only a week, like the short time that you think these things take years, and obviously on a large scale it would, but how quick it happened for us.
It's such a profound experience, and you really get the sense that it's something that's quite hard to articulate. But the biggest thing for me, and I've spoken to different groups and different combinations of the two groups together, is this new sense of shared purpose, of a supportive environment where actually I don't need to ask permission to solve a problem I see in front of me. I know I now have the power to do that, and I also know if I need to talk to anybody, I've got this cohort of people that I can call upon. And as a model for creating businesses where you don't get the Enron type issues, where you know that your values are being lived autonomously, and that's something that's really important for BT, because we are nearly 100,000 people, we are in 170 countries, we do have a core set of values, but how do we know that those values are being worked on and those people are over there? And if you think about the future nature of business, we need to stop talking about the BRIC countries as countries that are emerging. They're all in the top 15 economies in the world. They've emerged. If you now start talking about the truly emerging countries, some in Latin America, a lot in sub-Saharan Africa, these are places where we will have to do business where there is little infrastructure, where unethical behaviour like bribery, corruption and other things are the way that things are done. We have to know that the deep sense of value, connection with the company and with the people in it will mean that the people we place out there will find the way that is aligned to their personal values and our values as an organisation in which to do business. And they'll do it in a way that grows the business with the community. And that's what we think we're beginning to see, is this capability. Now the other bit that has to happen is exactly in your case, you found your own sense of capability and made a proposal to business how you could grow but also help it. And the business was big enough to see that and put it in place. That's the second bit that we're learning and working with now, is you can develop people who are leader ready. The organisation has to be leader ready too. And that's the embedding piece that is a challenge, but we know it's working.
One of the things I would say is that I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me, that when you came in on that first day, did you see yourself as leaders?
I knew I wanted to progress.
Yeah.
Whether I saw myself as a leader, probably not, no.
I think
a manager,
so.
maybe, but not necessarily a leader.
Mm.
And I think there's a big difference, yeah.
But there was a very, very strong sense of leadership when you were there.
Hugely, and there still is. There still is. Between our team, we all want to lead, don't we?
We just become more certain about things, like things have become more clear within us. I think that's sort of mirrored onto other people as well.
I wanted to raise that point because, if we don't see ourselves, if our self-image of ourselves isn't one that we don't see ourselves as a leader, then we don't step into that place. So it's really important that we do see ourselves as leaders.
A year on in, we're seeing that it's still working, that it is sustainable, as George says, because there's not just the energy of one person, there's an energy of a group. But also because we've been doing that other preparatory work about getting the business to understand and be, at least open to some of the changes that people are proposing.
If you look at, certainly, I don't know about your year, but our year at the moment is actually looking at how we can help that change create in the business. It's not just about the business changing to adapt for us. We're trying to,
I think it's a lot to do
get the business to understand us, and we're proactively doing that. I mean, we're talking about the calls outside of what we've been given. That's why we've been having them. We're looking at ways that we can have an influence to get things to change in what we've now seen. And so that change comes from doing this anyway, through us. As it's been seen, we know, we've been put forward as future leaders. That's how we're taking the lead. We want to change that, and we want to be responsible for that. Anything else is a bonus.
Well, I think,
and that's how we see it.
They'll put the programme in, sort of say, these are our future leaders, and let's give them this and that. But I think, for me, it's I've got what I've got because I wanted it, and a lot of the time, you've got to be willing. This has given me the confidence to know what I want and but no one's going to get it except me. So I can get offered things, or people can put it, but sooner or later you're going to get found out. You've got to want it yourself. And I think this coaching has given me the sense that if I'm going to make it, it's going to be me who's going to break the doors down to get it. So I think, as I say, definitely to make it easier, we need to be recognised as future leaders. That's half the battle in itself. But I think if I start approaching people saying, this is me, I've done this and I've done that, then it looks even better, I suppose.
And in a way, this is why I slightly, I don't actually like the future leaders thing, because I think what we're saying is the leaders now. So
why are you waiting for it?
That's right. They're doing it now. What they are doing is creating the leadership model of tomorrow, but they're actually doing it now. And we talked a lot about, what would we call each group when they've done it. We talked about change makers and all these things, and they all feel so kind of false labels. Actually, it's best just to let the people go out and be what they are, which is they're good people. They're good performers, and they are creating change. But isn't that just what we don't need a label? Actually, what we need is the momentum. But there is a temptation, particularly for us in HR, to want to go, here's my change leader army.
When you look at the people that were in our group, they were all different ages, all different areas of business, all different experiences, all different times being in the business.
And different cultures.
It didn't matter.
Probably helped.
In some ways it did. And I'd also say that I don't think it matters how far they come out of it. It's that they come out of it with something. So, we might have all come out at different levels. I don't think that matters. What matters is that there was a change in everybody. And that's the point. That will be continued afterwards. So maybe it was possibly too early for some people, and possibly too late for some people as well. But the point is that you've initiated that change, and that will continue.
So what's happened for the pilots is the individuals who've been on it have been nominated. So it hasn't been a self-selecting thing. The managers working in the apprenticeship world have picked people they see as leaders of tomorrow. And we've kind of kicked the tyres of that a bit and said, okay, what if you've got a manager who's particularly supportive of someone who isn't necessarily the kind of person we think we get the most out of this. But we've gone around quite a few circles on it. We still seem to have ended up with the same process, which seems to work as far as we can tell, but we haven't got a control group. So we'll keep reviewing it. But we have agreed
get the managers to identify.
Yes, because we think that actually we create a huge bureaucracy if we get people applying as well. And we want to make sure, one thing we did do was we tried to make sure that both groups were representative. So we wanted to make sure, although women are in the minority in our apprenticeship scheme, as you would understand, we wanted to make sure we had women represented in the cohorts as well. Dialogue. I've had a lot of dialogue up front with the managers about what we were trying to do and what we were looking for, and we got a lot of enthusiasm. Some managers were more reticent and uncertain about it, but the majority were very enthusiastic. And I didn't want to be in a position of picking people. I thought that was the wrong way to do it. I wanted them to choose.
What we were saying to them is, this programme is very profound. This programme will help people who are struggling find themselves and hopefully find their performance. It will help people who are very good be excellent. It's all about the movement. And in effect, what we were saying to the managers are, when you look at the group that you're responsible for, who are the ones, whichever end of the scale they're at, that you think would really benefit